The gentlewoman is recognized.
I demand a recorded vote.
Pursuant to Clause 6 of Rule 18, further proceedings on the amendment offered by a gentleman from Georgia, it will be postponed. It is now in order to consider Amendment Number 118, printed in Part B of House Report 118-272. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Illinois seek recognition?
I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 118, printed in Part B of House Report number 118-272, offered by Mrs. Miller of Illinois.
Pursuant to House Resolution 864, the gentlewoman from Illinois, Ms. Miller, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Illinois.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I rise today in support of my amendment to cut the salary of Assistant Secretary for the Office of Civil Rights at the Department of Education to $1. The Assistant Secretary has continually refused to enforce current Title IX law, which puts our young girls in danger. Under current statute, the Department of Education is required to protect young women and girls from being forced to compete against biological men in athletics. But the Biden administration of education is ignoring the law to impose their radical political agenda on our daughters by forcing them to compete against biological males. The Assistant Secretary's office has proposed 2 Title IX rules that violate congressional intent for the Title IX. Title IX was created to protect girls' sports and girls' spaces, including bathrooms and locker rooms, not to promote a radical left-wing political ideology. The Assistant Secretary for the Office of Civil Rights at the Department of Education is not following congressional intent. Please join me in standing up for our daughters and all female athletes by supporting this amendment, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman reserves. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Connecticut seek recognition?
Madam Chair, I claim the time in opposition.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
I rise in strong opposition to this amendment, proposing to eliminate the salaries of hardworking public servants, as I've said earlier, is really petty, very, very petty, beneath the dignity of this body, but it belies, it demonstrates the lack of seriousness of the process that we're now engaged in and the road on which we should be dealing to really put together appropriations bills that meet the needs of the American people and our international obligations. And it's really not how we should solve differences of opinion. The mission of the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights is to ensure, quote, equal access to education, to promote educational excellence throughout the nation through vigorous enforcement of civil rights. OCR's mission includes areas of concern that Labor HHS Education Committee has prioritized, again, over the years on a bipartisan basis, including stronger enforcement to protect the rights of students with disabilities. Currently, there is bipartisan support for continuing OCR's enforcement of civil rights laws, as outlined in President Biden's and the Biden administration's the U.S. national strategy to counter anti-Semitism, something that we are just the flood of anti-Semitism today, and on a bipartisan basis, we are supporting OCR's enforcement of the civil rights laws to counter anti-Semitism. You know, at a time when so many student populations are feeling vulnerable, in need of support, it really is irresponsible and it's reckless to take out the Department of Education's top civil rights official. And once again, it demonstrates a lack of seriousness of the process that we are engaged here on this floor at 10 o'clock at night. And I believe, again, as I said earlier, a lack of seriousness on behalf of my Republican colleagues in the House of Representatives. Vote no on what is a vindictive amendment. I reserve.
The gentleman reserves. Gentlewoman reserves. Gentlelady is recognized.
I'm being very serious, and this is not petty. We want to reduce his salary to what he's worth. Title IX was specifically established to give girls and women opportunities in education and athletics, and sex in Title IX clearly was meant to be biologic and genetic, not sexual identity. This is dangerous for our girls, both emotionally and physically, to have biological men participating in their athletics and entering their locker rooms and bathrooms. Thank you, and I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields. The gentlewoman from Connecticut is recognized.
I'm opposed to the amendment, and I yield back.
The gentlewoman from Connecticut yields. So the question is on the amendment offered by gentlelady from Illinois. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.
Madam Chair,
The gentlewoman is recognized.
I demand a recorded vote.
Okay. Pursuant to Clause 6 of Rule 18, further proceedings on the amendment offered by the gentlelady from Illinois will be postponed.